Too strong, too fast, and simply too good. Rafa Nadal! What a fighter!
Well, folks, 2019 has been the year of Rafael Nadal. The year in number one was absolutely fantastic in 2019. Starting slow, getting better, and finishing almost unbeatable. So in this episode of The Slice, we're going to get into what happened in 2019 for Rafael Nadal and pay tribute to the year-end number one for 2019. So let's get into his ups, his downs, and what went down in 2019 to make him the year-end number one in this episode of The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Welcome to The Slice.
Thank you for tuning in, folks, and Rafael Nadal especially appreciates you tuning in. The old Spanish boy from Mallorca is on a high note after finishing the season year number one, also winning the Davis Cup, leading his team to victory really recently this last weekend. So thank you for being here. If you're new here, subscribe. If you like the video, click the like button and share this video with a Rafa fan so they don't miss out on The Slice recapping what happened in 2019 for Rafael Nadal. My recap of the year is he's 33 years old this year, which is getting pretty old. And with his body, the way he played, a lot of us did not think that he'd be this good at this point in his career. But like the big three continue to do is blow our minds and surprise us. And Rafael Nadal did absolutely that in 2019. He went 58-7 record, winning 4 titles. So 58-7 is crazy. It's so few losses. So he had more wins than Novak Djokovic and less losses. And Novak was just in second. That's the comparison. But he just had such a clean 2019. So we're going to look at how it started, because it didn't start that way, honestly. For the first 3 or 4 months of the season, even I was at the Slice, everyone was thinking, is this the Rafael Nadal? Is this going to be the start of the end for him? But there was an absolute turnaround, and we're going to get into how that happened right now. So the start of the year was a sad, slow start for Nadal. At the Australian Open, he had a great tournament, just destroying everyone, looking so good getting to the final, and then got absolutely destroyed by Novak Djokovic. It looked like a pretty disheartening loss, and honestly, it was super one-sided in Djokovic's favor. And then he went to lose to Nick Kyrgios in Acapulco, and some beef was seriously sorted out there. Nadal did not look too happy losing that one, so that's his second loss of the year. And then in Indian Wells, he had to pull out before the Fadal semifinal that they had set up. So he was dealing with some injury there. Didn't play in Miami. And then went and prepared for the clay season, which is obviously his best game. Showed up for the clay season and lost to Fabio Fognini for his 3rd loss of the year, which you don't want to do. Fabio Fognini did go on to win that tournament. So good for I said Fognini. I meant Fognini. I don't know if I'm saying that right. We get roasted all the time on The Slice for mispronunciations. But Nadal was not too happy losing that either. Then he went to Barcelona, where he lost to Dominic Thiem, his heir to the throne of the clay court, but not quite, because he still owns it. We'll get to that. And then in Madrid, he lost to another young gun, Stefanos Tsitsipas. And that was a tough loss for him. And at this point, at The Slice, we were saying, if this doesn't turn around on clay so far, so it's not going to be good. If Nadal doesn't win the French Open this year, this could be a serious blow and maybe the start of the end for him. But nonetheless, maybe Rafa was watching. Maybe he got inspired by the criticizers, by the worriers. And then he went into Rome and put on an absolute show, distributing 4 bagels during the tournament, including one to Novak Djokovic in the final. So that's his first tournament win of the year after losing 5 matches, losing in 5 tournaments before that. Beats Djokovic in the final, and it really seemed like he had found his game. He found the bite on clay. He was doing a lot of good things, but he was just losing these matches in the tournaments before Rome. But at Rome, he really seemed to get into Rafael Nadal style clay king tennis, and that's just when he was playing his best, and Djokovic couldn't stop him. And then he rolled into Roland Garros feeling a lot better, obviously, and walked through Roland Garros, playing Federer in the semifinal, dispatching of him, and beating Dominic Thiem again in the final of the French Open to win his 12th. So after the Rome, I'm calling that the turning point of his 2019 season. After Rome, he only had 2 more losses until the end of the year, which is insane. So that's like 5 or 6 months. That's like when does Rome happen? Like May? So that's crazy. He did only play 5 more tournaments, but unbelievably hard to beat in 2019 in general, and especially after he won Rome. So after the French Open, he goes and loses to Federer in the semifinal of Wimbledon, which is obviously not a bad loss. Federer's pretty good on grass, you could say. And then he beats Daniil Medvedev in the Rogers Cup final, who at that point, Daniil Medvedev was unstoppable. He's playing so good. And then he went on to beat Daniil Medvedev again in the U.S. Open and to win the U.S. Open, which was totally unexpected. I called him actually at the beginning of that tournament. I'll try and find a clip for it. I called him as the favorite to win it because of the draw. He didn't have Federer or Djokovic in his half. So then he didn't have to end up playing them, but no discrediting Nadal's performance because he could have easily lost that final to Medvedev. He was up 2-0, and he let Medvedev fought back into a tough fifth set, and Nadal just brought out his warrior spirit again and just forced himself to win that match. He just did not submit to Medvedev's super long rallying. What Medvedev was doing was working against every other player in the world, including Djokovic, but it didn't work against Nadal. Not in the Rogers Cup final and not in the U.S. Open final because Nadal out-battled Medvedev. And at 33, that's pretty crazy because Medvedev was seriously hungry to get that U.S. Open crown in his first final. So that's a huge win for Nadal. And then he pulls out of Paris due to injury, and then it's looking sketchy going into the World Tour final. So before Paris, he was looking like he was going to end the year #1, but then him pulling out of Paris gave Djokovic some life. And then Nadal lost his first match in Paris, at the World Tour finals to Zverev. Might have been injured. We don't know. Getting his feet back under him. Zverev did play extremely well. But then he had a couple epic wins against Tsitsipas and then Medvedev, coming down from 5-1 in the final set against Medvedev, showing more of what Nadal's made of. And then Federer beats Djokovic, knocks him out, solidifies the year #1 ranking for Nadal. So he got to have the speech there, holding the trophy, and he talked about at 33, with all the injuries that's got him in his career, he didn't think he'd be there. So it was absolutely cool to see him there, and we got to put an absolute respect on his name for being the #1 player in 2019 when Djokovic also won 2 majors. All these young guys were coming up. Team was battling at him. Medvedev's coming up, beats him twice. Really outstanding. He was definitely the best player in 2019, the hardest player to beat, and as a bonus, leads Spain to win the Davis Cup finals, winning 5 more matches. So unbelievable performance from Nadal in 2019, the best player. Him and Djokovic had a close match or a close fight for it, and we saw a lot of crazy things happen in 2019. But one of the most amazing things was to watch Nadal resurrect again from mediocrity at the beginning of the year and win 2 more slams, getting him to a total of 19. Very close to Federer. So, crazy stuff in 2019. That's a tribute to Rafa's amazing season, and I am so excited for the 2020 season coming up. If you'd like to be a part of it with the Slice, obviously subscribe. But if you appreciate this type of journalism, hit the link below. That'll take you to our Patreon page where you can be involved in another show called The Front Row Show, where we get you closer to the ATP Tour than anywhere else on the internet, and you support the Slice getting better, going to more tournaments, etc., etc. You can also buy this shirt and the Bagel Time mug, which Rafa was on Bagel Time for half of 2019 on our website below. So I'd appreciate you guys checking out the links below. But that was an ode to Rafa Nadal in 2019. What did you guys think about his season? What were your favorite moments? Let me know below. Thanks for watching.